We are Rieman from the Dilemma Band, recently signed to the Rize Up Entertainment record label here in Connecticut. How you doing, Corey?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, Alex.
Dude, it's been 4 years since you've been on this podcast originally, because originally you came on with a rendition of the Dilemma Band, which is where I personally discovered you guys. Now, since then, how much has the band changed, would you say?
I don't know. There was a plague. And I feel like things changed. I don't know if you were aware of this thing. There was this huge, I don't know, there was a giant lockdown and then 3 years of craziness and pandemic and pandemonium and whatnot. And as seems to have been the course for many a thing and many an outlet in the world and many a facet, no, things just changed with it. The world changed. And with that, I think, if something as vast as the world is going to change, I think a band can change as well. And I want to say for the better.
Oh, I'd say so. Absolutely. And I, over that time, most bands suffered because they didn't get to go perform. They didn't, like places locked down. Did you see any sort of impact on that? Like, were you still playing live?
Well, yeah, we knew that things had to be different because we also did not want to be, the one thing you didn't want to be was the band that had an outbreak at your show. So we figured out how to do things safely. We figured out first which events were safe, what wasn't safe, things that were, doing things the right way, or parties that were not crazy where they told us, listen, here's what's going on. If people wanted our vax cards, we had them ready. People want us to wear a mask. It's just like if you go to someone's house, they ask you to take your shoes off. You take your shoes off.
Pretty much.
Put your mask on. We put the mask on, and we did that during that. We played some weddings and some parties, and know what? I want to tell you that's some of the absolutely most artistically fulfilling stuff I've ever done, because it was a whole new world. The party was almost like parties were a new thing again, and it was expressive, and there was a lot of joy that came from that. And during that time, weirdly enough, while there was so much hell and horrible, there was chaos in the world, it was nice to be one of the few moments of, brief joy, finding the times to do it. We got to play in New Britain on the in Walnut Park in the amphitheater there, which is a gorgeous amphitheater. And it was one of the first live music events. We were at Stella Blues in New Haven for the first weekend that they were opened back up. It was a wild time, truly.
Now, out of all the places that you played, whether it's a pandemic or over the years, what was your favorite that you've ever played so far?
That I've ever played?
Yeah, if you had to pick one. I know that's a tough question, but
that's a really tough question. Because there's so many places that are just like, I just love playing there in general. Like, I will always tell you that, the Oldwell in Simsbury is just, I love being there. But the coolest place, okay, this is cool probably for a whole different reason. One time we got to play a wedding in the Dinosaur Hall of the Peabody Museum in New Haven.
That's kind of cool.
That was, and the cocktail hour was in the different rooms of the museum. So the guys in the band all split up, and I'm playing in a gem room, and someone's playing in a room with taxidermy, and like getting to do stuff like that is wild. And then I would have to say the coolest show though, absolutely coolest, like as far as just the rock and roll thing goes, played at Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago at the Raceway in front of 10,000 people. That's an insane feeling. And when it's like you're looking and it doesn't look like it's that many people, but then you realize like, oh no, there's a bear. Like when you're playing a show with a barrier that's up, that's wild.
Right. It's pretty crazy. Like, I can't imagine what that must feel like to be up there, especially in front of 10,000 people.
I will say this. I was trying to get you to know I did try to FaceTime you.
Yeah, I know. And it's crazy because I see the videos afterwards. I'm like, I should have made the trip to Watkins Glen, but that's for another conversation.
No, you should have just at least picked up my FaceTime.
Yeah, seriously. Well, the other thing, so while you're up on stage, you're looking into the crowd, and at a lot of these places, I'm sure the crowds change. I'm sure the demographic changes depending on what the event is and all that. I'm sure of that. But if you had to say that you saw your biggest fan up in front of one of these crowds, what would that fan look like? Would it be a young kid, or would it be an older adult? Like, what would you say your biggest fan would be?
That is the weird thing. That is absolutely the weird thing with this music, like that we're playing. Like, on the one hand, our biggest fan could be somebody's mom or dad, and it can go either way. Like, I love that, like, Fleetwood Mac and Chicago, they're both two bands that can walk that line between mom rock and dad rock.
Yeah.
And I love that end, but at the same time, you can also get, waitresses in Pennsylvania who fall in love with the music too. So, that's there. I don't know if there is a definitive, your stereotypical Dilemma fan.
Yeah. No, it's very true. Like, by being around you guys,
usually has hearing.
Yeah, that's like the guideline, right? It's so far human. We haven't experienced anything away from that, far away from that.
Not like, and again, if for all, I'm not trying to discriminate against my non-sentient fans. Apologies to you. If there's an awareness month, I'll donate.
I was gonna say some of them are a little crazy, but in a good way.
Absolutely. Oh no, and it's fun. We've had for it's crazy, for the last like over a decade of playing music. Yeah, no, you find out that you have some fans that show up to things, and they're still showing up to some of my shows.
Right.
Showed up when I was a kid, and then all of a sudden they're still showing up. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Been a while.
No, that's very true. That's very true. And in the past, your performances, your way of performing, the way you write, the way you sing, you've been compared, and you've talked about having the influences of like Paul McCartney or Springsteen and other influences. But what is it that influenced you to play the harmonica?
The harmonica. So my uncle, when I was probably 4 years old, gave me a harmonica. And I heard Paul Butterfield, and that was magical. And then I heard the Jay Giles Band, and Facebook censors, please don't shut me down, because this is literally this guy's stage name. Their harmonica player was a dude named, and he's still alive, named Magic Dick. And Magic Dick could do things with the harmonica. Magic Dick could blow and suck the harmonica like no one else could. I don't know if you want to hear about Magic Dick blowing and sucking coming out of my mouth on your show, and I apologize for that, but blame Howard Stern for that joke. But yeah, no, I heard that, and the possibility of what someone can do with a harmonica was wild. And then once you start playing harmonica, I guess in this day and age, I remember my father and all my father's friends being like, Blues Traveler, you got to listen to Blues Traveler. Yeah. And I love Blues Traveler. Don't get me wrong. Right. My God, that man, John Popper, is something else. He is, if Butterfield was the Hendrix of harmonica, Popper is, Eddie Van Halen.
Right. Yeah.
And let it be known that I do not advocate the I'm not the biggest stan. I love Hendrix. I do. I cannot get behind him being the greatest of all time as far as the guitar goes. I think he was a better songwriter than he was a guitarist.
Well,
hot take.
On that note, though, who would you say would be the best guitarist?
The best guitarist?
I mean, me personally, I always go Stevie Ray Vaughan, because I haven't seen anything that really tops him yet. But
I mean, and
it all depends on what you're into.
Am I allowed to say Brother Dave?
Hey, you know what, dude? Like, especially if it's a personal experience and I've witnessed it firsthand, like, Brother Dave could definitely be a candidate in this category.
Because I'm sorry, I think he'd blow. And again, I know that I was literally talking about how I shouldn't say this at all, but I know there are purists who will be annoyed about my Stevie Ray Vaughan opinion.
Yeah.
But like, you know what? If I just shortlist off the top of my head the guys who I think get underrated and probably are better than everyone, if I just had to quick answer, Jeff Beck. Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my, listen, listen, and again, I've always been a Clapton is God guy. I'll admit it. I'll be there. But there is no one who sounds like Jeff Beck other than Jeff Beck.
Right. Oh, he's
Jeff,
very, very original.
yeah. Oh God, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. In love with that man's playing. He was one of those guys that I was like, you can do that with a guitar.
Yeah. No, he's also experimented with music in general so much over the years that it's like, dude, what can't this dude do?
There is nothing.
Right.
There is nothing.
Speaking of which, the song that you just released, Sweet Woman, you wrote the song, you played guitar on it. Yeah, I know you did some other layers because I was in the studio with you working on them. Tell me a little bit about that song. What motivated you to write that song and when?
So that song is close to no. Okay, that's not close to 10 years old because it was my senior year of high school. So we're not going to say that. But possibly within the close relative range of that, maybe. I don't like that. Oh, I'm just having that kind of realization. Ew. Oh boy. But no, and it's a very innocent song. It is, but and there are the people who bring out that cute side of you, the one, for lack of a better term, the one that just kind of makes you just smile and gush and just like just turn into the ones who just turn you into a nerd because they're just so nice. Because they're sweet. That's where this song comes from. That place in your heart. There's and again, every song I know has definitely, has some kind of personal seed that goes into it. But a lot of when I write, I don't want to write something that's specifically what I did. This is something I think, this is something I do, because songs get heard by multiple people.
Right.
And I would rather take my experience and find kind of the fundamentals. What is it with my experience that everyone can get behind? What is it about my experience that's empathetic to everybody?
Right.
So,
well, and it's also an old memory that stuck with you, and it's an old feeling in a way, because you've probably, and people that listen to this song have probably had numerous instances when this happened to them, different occurrences where they thought of somebody that was really sweet to them or something, and it hung like a crush, and happens.
I had a wonderful moment with this. So I had a friend, she's wonderful, Sarah Walters. She's a friend of mine who, she heard that song when I first wrote it. She was one of the first people I showed it to. And when she saw that song was finally coming out, she freaked out. She freaked out. And she's like, she's like, I've mentioned this song to people. I'm like, really? She's like, I remember when you wrote this. I loved it then. I mention it all the time. I'm like, insane. This is crazy. So, Sarah, if you're listening, if you hear this, thank you. Thank you. That made my day that day. But yeah, no, and it's cool and that is the fun thing about releasing a song so long after writing it. That is kind of fun. And it's
also evolved with your talent over the years too, if you think about it, because when you wrote that, let's just hypothetically say it was a decade ago. Ago, you had nowhere near the skill set you have now, so
I also hadn't had the life experience that I had.
So it's also, so you have pain in there too, some pain. You also have some like real freaking feeling in it, I guess you could say, that you could hear in your singing on it. And that's a great point. The thing though is the song Sweet Woman you would have released 10 years ago wouldn't have sounded nearly as good as it does now.
And I think you led me to kind of a thought that I literally just had here. It's like, even if I had recorded literally the same song, contextually speaking, I think it would have been audible. Yeah. It would have come off as bubblegum.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I could see that.
yeah, and maybe at the time it was a little bit bubblegum. Oh, sweet woman, can I tell
Yeah.
you what's wrong? But then, like, those same words, those aren't. That's there can be more to it. It's. And I've ripped on myself on some songs I've written in the past where I'm like, and I'm thinking about it even literally now, like maybe they deserve a reevaluation, because maybe what I thought, it's funny, what I thought was so immature then might actually be a little more meaningful. What's the Bob Dylan lyric? I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now.
Well, and the funny thing about it is it's like so coincidental how these things work. It's like the whole universe and how it works, because you released it ironically, coincidentally, in a time where women are extremely underappreciated. So it's like
Absolutely.
when it comes out, you had this meaning for it, but it has a whole nother meaning to people that hear, especially women, because it's like, oh my God, this song's actually about appreciating women. And it
Well,
just
yeah,
ironically came out at a vulnerable time.
well, yeah, and again, there was something wild about that all going on, and I would never, I never want to exploit something that I was doing with this. But that being said, on quite the other end,
Yeah.
if you're giving me a moment here, think about the people in your lives, think about the people who you love, and the individual things and choices that need to be made, and with that, keep your choices, whether it be through your ballot or your wallet. Keep those in mind. I'm not going to say what to do, but keep those things in mind, and the options that you have with your ballot and your wallet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that being said, you and I know what the song sounds like more than anybody else, because we listened to it 1,000 times in the studio, over and over. But who should listen to the song that hasn't already? Who would you recommend it to?
I think it's, again, it is, there's something very, it is an innocent song, but with that, it is very, it's a reassuring song. So I think, there's, I think the guy who wants to ask the girl out, there's your reassurance. I think there's the reassurance for the woman who's listening to it, who's saying, like, you deserve better than certain people. You deserve to be held in a certain regard. I don't, and maybe it's cliche and maybe it's the easy way out. I don't see someone who shouldn't listen to it. There's nothing offensive to it. There's nothing that someone who doesn't, or who likes certain music won't like about it. Not for nothing. Have you listened to the beginning of Nothing Else Matters by Metallica? That's not exactly there's something for everyone there. And I think it's fun. It was fun getting to put that song together. The string arrangements that Cody Lord did were phenomenal. Getting to work with Joanna with the vocals, that was incredibly fun. It was a nice time.
I will say it was pretty powerful being I wasn't in the studio with Joanna, so I can't say anything about her. But when Cody Lord was there and he came in to lay down the violin layers, it was so crazy. It was like magic, like watching all these layers just come together right before you, because a lot of it was improvised just to see how it was going to sound, and it ended up sticking. It was all natural. It all happened right on the spot. It's not like we had to do 1,000 takes of all these different instruments, which was the craziest thing, because that's what I'm used to, with other bands, but you guys pretty much got it right down. And it sounded amazing. And I agree with you. Like, it's universal. Anybody can listen to it and find some sort of meaning behind it, especially romantic wise, or just if you're chilling out wanting to hear a calm song, it has that vibe too. Now, you have this going on. You have the Sweet Summer Tour going on. Anybody can find information on this at thedilemmaband.com. What are some things that you are looking forward to right now?
What am I looking forward to? We're playing in some, oh boy. Still there? There I am.
Yeah, I'm good. There you go.
Cool. What am I looking forward to? We're playing some cool places throughout the summer. We were actually just talking this afternoon. We're gonna get to play at the Eisenhower House in Newport, Rhode Island. That's where Dwight Eisenhower used to, when he was the supreme commander of the Allied forces, when he was in the United States, that was his headquarters. Now they have weddings there.
What a turn!
He helped play. Part of the planning of D-Day was done in this house, and now there's weddings there. It's also on a fort that was being used since, like, barely after the colonial America. So like,
That's pretty cool.
and no, it's not Fort Adams. And again, if you get the chance to be in Newport, that's great. But we get to do all these the bike and beer tour dates like this weekend. Oh, this weekend's gonna be fun. We're going to be in New Hampshire doing a twofer. We're doing 2 shows on Saturday. In the morning, we're going to be doing the bike and beer show, bike and beer tour at Smutty Nose Brewery in Hampton, New Hampshire.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be a great time. Every time we get to go, there's like 1,000 people there. And if you want, there are still tickets, I believe, available. If you want to just show up for the after party, which we play at, there is a code, Dilemma, literally just Dilemma. You get your after party pass, and then we will be at the Live Free or Die Tattoo Festival. And it's going to be so funny when the probably going to end up being shirtless frontman has no tattoos. My parents never, ever had to worry about me getting tattoos, earrings, or doing heroin. I am afraid of needles. I hate needles.
You're like the most innocent rock star ever.
I swear, like when I wrote Ice Cold Rain, my song, when I was in the hospital, I was like, I'm hopefully never going to have an opportunity to write while, under the, the spell of an opioid. I was on morphine. I'm like, This is my one opportunity to have a Keith Richards moment.
Right.
Like, I'm like, I need to find these, and maybe there's something more beautiful, sacred, and like, wholesome to that, possibly, about like, not being a junkie and having your junkie song.
But there was a difference though. It's not like you were recreationally taking, you actually needed the morphine in the case, so it is
I was actually, I remember literally asking, hi, can I not take this? And they're like, you have a tube in your side and you're still in your bed in the fetal position. You need to be on something.
Seriously. Absolutely. Especially in that case. And the bright side to it is that's a song that I don't want to give anything away, but it could be re-released someday. It might be. We just can't say any more than that. That's all.
It could deserve some reevaluation in the studio again. And again, I think it would still feature Keith Burwood and the ambient guitar work that he did on that. Phenomenal.
Heck yeah.
He does some of the storytelling for me.
There's with the guitar.
You want you want a fun little thing about that?
Yeah.
So that is literally 2 guitar solos.
Oh, is it really?
They're playing at the exact same time in the complete opposite ends in stereo. Because what you're coming out of that second verse, which is kind of about the dichotomy, the confusion, what's going on there. So it's like, I had these 2 solos, and instead of breaking the 2 solos up into one solo, I'm like, kind of goes thematically here. Right. And I love using the stereo mix for storytelling. You should use it. It's there. Having things pan certain ways. So
panning everything.
You're getting 2 different guitar solos. So if you take your headphones off and you listen through the solo section twice, you're going to hear 2 different things going on.
Dude, I got to listen to it again, because now you got me thinking. I'm like, did I hear anything different? Because I swear I didn't. Like, that's crazy.
Y'all heard it first.
That's so sick, man. Well, dude, thanks for coming back on this podcast once again. I know we're going to have you on a bunch more, but I wanted to get you on here for a Rize Up exclusive so everybody could see who you are, meet who you are, frontman of the Dilemma band. We're definitely going to get the whole band on here, maybe even do a 1-by-1 type thing. But thanks again for coming on, man, and can't wait to hear more from you soon.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to talk to you, and I'll probably talk to you in the morning.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks again. And
thank you for having me.
Find Corey Rieman and the Dilemma Band on any of the socials. Go to @the.dilemma.band.official on all the handles. You could also check him out on the Bike and Beers tour, like he said. What was the site again, or the code? It was Dilemma to get tickets.
I think get a discount on your after party event ticket. You get 2 free beers. You get a glass that comes with it, a koozie.
That's pretty sick. Everybody needs a koozie.
Everybody needs a freaking. Even though I now have so many goddamn bike and beer koozies.
Well, you could also catch him on the Sweet Summer Tour as well for those dates. and more, go to thedilemmaband.com, and we will see you guys soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for